Did you know that the Wild West was not just about cowboys and outlaws, but also a complex society with diverse cultures and struggles? In this video, you'll explore the Wild West as depicted in the series 1883, setting the stage for an enthralling journey through history. Before we delve into the various aspects of life in the event of the American Indian 1883, such as the role of women, Native American interactions, and the impact of lawlessness, please like and subscribe to our channel to support our community. War, as we know from history and tradition, has always been the pleasure and warlike neighbor, keeping in large villages and under control of one passion of the Indian. With or without cause, tribes occupying lands adjacent to each other were almost always on the warpath, so long as a tribe was surrounded by powerful chiefs. When neighbors were driven away or achieved success elsewhere, they moved away from doctrine and dogma. Currently, there are more than 66 bands of youths with diverse dialects. They prefer to be chiefs of small bands rather than sub-chiefs of large ones, and took every precaution to prevent any subsequent concentration, except when forced to do so by war and the like. Additionally, 34 separate Sioux bands are rapidly focusing on Indian reserves. There were 19 Shoshones or Snakes, and the government unknowingly stopped language disintegration. 2 bands wandered eastward over the Rocky Mountains and became alienated from the parent tribe. They are now known as Bannocks and have lost their tribal name. They lack the ability to communicate or comprehend in their native language. Despite being offshoots from the same parent stock, the 28 bands of Apaches speaking dialects on the same continent were known for their bitterness and hostility towards one another. Despite this, the Apaches were strong in numbers, warlike in spirit, crafty and energetic, and occupied a country that was nearly inaccessible to whites. However, it would have taken the U.S. government many years of temperance and disposition to subdue the Indians, who were the fruitful cause of Babel's bloody and costly war. It would have been seen that his own war was similar to the confusion of tongues. Other causes may also have contributed to this confusion. The use of the sign language as a communication medium was undoubtedly prompted by the Plains Indians' inability to tolerate a spoken language other than their own. And for 60 years, the Cheyennes and Arapahoes have been the closest of friends, occupying the children of both tribes live in the same country, live in the same camps, and make peace or war with the same enemies. They play, fight, hunt, and associate together, but not at the same time, and conduct themselves as if they were one. 1 in 10 men, women, or children of either tribe can hold even the most ordinary conversation in the language of the other. The fact that one language is relatively easy and the other is so difficult that even the best interpreters are forced to use sign language is remarkable. It would be expected that the easier language would eventually become the common means of communication between the two tribes. However, this is not the case. Each tribe uses their own language to communicate with their own people, and sign language has become universal among all North American Indians east of the Rocky Mountains. The Narragansett name for woman, the Algonquin papoose for child, Chuk for food, and many others are used to communicate with the people of the other tribe. When the white trader invaded the solitudes of the tribes, it became common property. Thus, Squaw, the Indian, took with him or was soon picked. The diversity of languages is a feature of savage life. Languages in England, Scotland, and Wales differ significantly from the probable Indian population. Even in this enlightened era, an American can struggle to travel alone without Caesar in Africa and South America. Estimates of the number of Indians range from 300,000 to 3 million, based on tree leaves and reports from interested parties. The number of Indians has historically been overestimated due to each tribe's need for food and safety, as well as their lack of a warlike disposition and natural tendency to split into bands. Indians have a strong aversion to being counted, especially since the government has issued rations, which has led to suspicion of self-interest. The Indians appreciate the advantage of receiving 253,000 from the agent, which is likely at least a fifth too many. However, it is possible to arrive with 500 rations for 300 or fewer mouths. The number of Indians in the United States, exclusive of Alaska as stated in the last official report of the Commissioner of Indian Affairs, is approximately. In the last 50 years, the number of Indians has significantly decreased. They are now concentrated in dangerous districts where they are frequently decimated by diseases such as smallpox, measles, and cholera. Despite their nomadic lifestyle, the tribe maintains strong attachment to their home and country throughout the year. Even a small tribe requires a large amount of territory for survival. During the spring, the tribe prioritizes grass for their horses or food, and the camp is frequently relocated. Indians choose their winter encampment within their territory and during the seasons, even if it's many miles away from the previous year's location. The location is not changed during the 3, 4, or 5 months of cold and bad weather. The good and happy encampment is often named after the year. Indians rarely leave their territory except for war or hunting parties. Within their territory, they are nomadic, but occasionally stop for ceremonies with neighboring friendly tribes or on long solitary journeys. Their attachment to their homeland is one of their strongest characteristics. The Indians have a strong attachment to their country and suffer from homesickness. Their reasoning abilities are well developed, and they are well versed in the various branches of education required for comfort and safety when forced to leave. Their mental capacity is superior, and their perception of their savage life demonstrates their capacity for higher education. The fact that he has shown little aptitude for civilized education is due to the fact that those in charge of his education were more concerned with their compensation than with the progress of their students, or were impressed with the idea of the soul's needs. Until recently, efforts to educate Indians were ill-directed and unsuitable for the needs of the language and speech-making. Male Indians are expected to speak in public and spend time preparing to establish their reputation as warriors or to persuade their audience to their point of view. While most warriors speak well, their best efforts may sound like self-praise. The Indian is often depicted as grave and dignified, with a reserved and silent demeanor. Writers have described him as a mysterious figure who walks through life unmindful of pleasure or pain. However, this is not the case. The Indian is a mischievous braggart who wears a white coat and a white choker for a dinner party. He is known for his dignity, reserve, and silence. He enjoys making others laugh and rousing the midnight echoes with song, dance, whooping, and yelling. In their daily lives, Indians are vivacious, chatty, and enjoy telling and hearing stories. They often spend their nights in camp safe from enemies and often engage in song and dance. Indians are known for their curiosity and desire to know what is going on around them, including the meaning of every mark on the ground and the camp tattle. When a stranger arrives in a village and goes to a lodge, the locals greet each other as if it were the first time they met. Whether or not the stranger is surprised depends on his surroundings, such as standing on tiptoe, straining eyes and ears, and crowding, as well as the nature of the situation. In informal gatherings or in the presence of strangers, people accept facts without explanation and may not be surprised by the rising and setting of the sun, changes in season, or flashes. Uneducated people may not be surprised. The Indian culture values endurance and suffering as a sign of manhood. It is believed that those who can endure pain without showing emotion are the best men, regardless of their other qualities. Patience is also a highly valued quality. His tendency to torture his enemies may be due to a low self-esteem and lack of pride. Modesty is often lacking in Indian culture. There are no reporters or newspapers to highlight a skilled warrior's accomplishments. Self-promotion is not a disgrace, and many warriors boast about their accomplishments and future plans. In some tribes, women retire and dress modestly due to customs, but they enjoy listening to the storyteller's most filthy recitals and applauding indecent proposals. Clothing is for ornamentation, not for decency. Even among the wildest tribes, men and women wear some covering, which is not considered decency among civilized people. Women are more naturally busier, and it is not uncommon to see boys and girls, even in villages, joining in a dance without causing surprise, comment, or objection from others. Men and women, even young girls, think nothing of bathing and running around the village. Some argue that he is a thief, while others believe he is trustworthy. Catlin believes that the Indian is honorable and has never stolen anything from him. These authors are both correct and incorrect. In their own bands, Indians are totally honest. In my interactions with them, I have only heard of a few examples of theft, which is the only unpardonable crime among them. There were no bolts, bars, locks, or safes, and each Indian had the right to enter any lodge of the band at any time. The hereditary chief was always recognized as the overend ruler, even if his age or temperament made him unfit to be safe for a moment. In times of war, the tribe's chief or warrior was often feared and despised, and his influence in the council was often based on his skill and ferocity. During peacetime, he was often overlooked, but in times of war, he became a powerful figure, and his word became law, to which even the hereditary chief had to submit. In some of the tribes, the war chief and the medicine chiefa reown the same person. Perhaps the most famous war chief in history is Crazy Horse, but that's a story for another day. Thank you for watching.